guys, it's Ryan again. We're going to do the part 2 of the planted video, and we're going to touch over some lighting options, some flow options, some substrate, and get a little more technical than we did last time. And we're going to look at some kind of harder to grow plants that would benefit a lot more from getting more advanced in the way we're going about this. Alright, so starting out with substrates, there's a bunch of different types. You do have your typical sand and gravel. We all know them, we all love them, we've all used them. You can use those in a planted tank, but you're going to have more of it, just because you're going to have that deeper substrate to have it hold the roots, like I said earlier. Starting out, Eco Complete. Not my favorite, but there's a tool for everything. With this, it's kind of like gravel. It's really crushed lava rock. What they do with that is they put some fertilizers in it. There's some bacteria in it, much like Carib Sea does on a lot of their live product. And with that, it's got enough to get you started. It's made to be used to start dosing fertilizers right away and absorb it and use it as a sponge, so that way it turns into things like your other products that are activated and have a lot more of the nutrients involved. So then you get into products like your Sea Chem. With that, starting out, your onyx sand. If you're looking for a sand because you like it and you're doing something like an African tank, you want to do things like bulbitis and crenum and things like that, this will work just phenomenally. Lets the fish do what a lot of your South Americans and African cichlids do, but it allows the roots and everything to hold on like a lot of those will tend to do. And this has a higher calcium base than, say, your aquasoilum or your elos or the fluvial stratum, things like that. Then you go into your fluorite. This is kind of more of an inert substrate. It does have some of your other benefits like calcium and some other odds and ends, but this is one of those, you don't want gravel, you don't want sand, but you don't want to run like an aquasoil. This is a nice in between. It comes in red, it comes in black. They do have a third color I can't remember the name of, but if you're going to use this, rinse it and rinse it again and again and again. It is not the cleanest of substrates, but it does look really nice, especially if you're into the aquascaping and you see kind of that sand path. This is a interesting way to kind of circumvent that and make it look kind of like a brick road, or do something like that. So then another, sorry Carl, Sea Chem product, but marketed under Aquavitro. It is an in-house brand only, like the rest of the Aquavitro line. It is a true aquasoil. This has all your nutrients, nitrates, ammonias, everything that you want that the plants are going to use in here. This does buffer the pH a little bit. So say we're shooting for a 7.5, this will bring it down somewhere about a 7.65, somewhere in there. Because, well, plants need that, and we'll go into that on the third part. Excellent stuff, easy to work with, terribly easy to plant in. One of the better products on the market. So some of the final options we have are going to be the Elos Terra Soil. I like it because you still have all the ease of planting with like the Aquavitro and the Stratum. However, it is a cleaner substrate. It's a brown instead of a black, so that's a little different. Just small detail thing that's really cool. It also comes in 2 different grain sizes, a big grain and a small grain, so you can mix that up and get some extra textures and things like that. Just a really solid product. So the last substrate we have is the ProtoBio. It's the best of everything. It's a nice grain size, which makes it easy to plant in. It has all the nutrients and stuff that you need. It does unfortunately only come in the black, so if you are wanting to change it up with the Elos instead because you like the brown, that's something you're going to have to think about. This will also, like all of your true substrates, will adjust for pH and hardness and things like that. Like I said, we'll get into those details on the next video coming out. The cool part about ProtoBio though is when you get their bags of the plant soil, it does come with a Bacter soil kit, so it is starting to seed your tank with some
Good bacteria?
That stuff. Don't get sick. Okay, so after substrate is going to be your lighting. And this is the number one thing that I would not skimp on, is going to be my light. I'd rather sacrifice on substrate a little bit because you can always supplement. With that, if you're going to be doing things like your Java fern, Anubias, some of your Bacopas, Cabambas, things like that, the Aqua Sky is an excellent product. With this, it is Bluetooth controllable. You can turn it on, off, set high points, low points, things like that. You are limited to how many times you can do that, so keep that in mind. You do have smaller ones up to, I believe, your 48 to 60 inch. This is a good way of starting out if you don't want to look into things like the triple red, Alternera Renekii, things like that that are going to be a lot of your colors and reds. So next on that, your step up, you want to get more into your carpeting plants, the Lewigia triple reds, the Lewigia whites, the Pinto white, things like that. Your fluval planted, same thing. You can tell it when to turn on, when to turn off. You can set high points, low points, change your spectrum, the whole 9 yards. It's an excellent light. Nothing wrong with it. I've bought 3 of these before. The only thing I do not like about them is that this is more of a yellowish light. So keep that in mind too, because if you are wanting a warmer style of light, this is an excellent option. Works really good if you're going to be doing things like Dragonstone. It'll make them look more red and orange and things like that, just while you got that rock. So if you've been in the store, you've seen our videos, you know I'm obsessed with the AI lights. I have them in my home tanks. I have way too many of them here. Excellent light. You can adjust these lights every 10 minutes if you want to go on, off, if you want to change different spectrums and all of that. You can do that with these lights. Cool part is too, you can link them together. So yet again, if you've been in the store and you see our 6-foot tanks, that whole 6-foot section with the 3 lights is all linked together. The other really nifty part about these is you can create what are called AIPs, your AI programs, and you can share them, download them, and really kind of get tips and tricks and help each other out with them. Excellent light can grow whatever you want to grow and then some. They have a multitude of mounting options, hanging kits, gooseneck arms, solid mount arms, just a good light all the way around to have. So if the AI is not enough light for you, congratulations, you're on a whole different level. We do have GNC lights. Now the reason I'm going to bring these up is because they are a little different. They do have a freshwater variant of these. Up to the really big lights, they have lights that look like the fluval as far as bars. With these, they are a saltwater light. Now, like I said, they're special because these are meant to be a wider color of your saltwater light. It lends itself phenomenally to doing a planted tank like this. Now with these, they are app controlled. As you can see, you have the mod box right here to where it allows you to go in and connect to it via Wi-Fi. And it's not as controllable as like the AI, but it does have a sunrise, a sunset. You can do cloud cover and do all the fancy stuff like you can on the fluval, except it is a passive cooled light and it's really bright. So obviously we need filtration as well. One of my favorite ways to do it is going to be a canister filter. However, it's not always the best option. But think of a planted tank much like a reef tank. You do need flow, or you'll get the detritus and dust and everything kind of settling down. We don't want that. With that, starting off, your AquaClear filters. I like these because they're modular. I don't run carbon in a lot of my planted tanks. What's the point? Because if I'm going to be dosing fertilizer, your carbon's going to be taking it out. Kind of wasting money there. So what you can do is you run like dual sponges and the ceramic media, or you do it the other way around. There's a few options. You can hot rod these up as well. Nifty little feature for them. So there's a whole lot to do, and it's definitely worth your money. Next step up is going to be something like your Tidal. This is a hell of a filter for one primary reason, and what it is that surface skimmer. So if you've ever seen the tanks that have that oily looking film on top, it's built up proteins or carbon blanketing the surface, preventing gas exchange. This helps prevent that. Also, it is a modular filter. So yet again, you can pretty much put what you want in there. You can do your sponges, your ceramic media like matrices and things like that. You can also run the poly filters like the pillow batting, the cut to fit type stuff. And stuff that in there. One other little thing that this has above, say like the AquaClear, is this actually has a media basket built inside that's not flimsy. So you can pick it up, yeah, you're gonna drip on the floor, so bring a towel. And use this and kind of maintenance it a little bit easier, but you can't really hot rod this thing up like you can the AquaClear. So it's one of those things, there's a tool for every job, you just kind of got to figure out what's right for you. So these next filters are my favorite way to go about this, canister filters. We carry two main ones in stock, your fluval or your Oase. With that, this one lends yourself better to doing CO2 reactors or doing like the lily pipes for if you have a rimless tank and you really want that clean, clear look. Not exactly the biggest fan of these with their media, but it's a canister filter, you can kind of hot rod it up. Mainly I'm lazy. That's why I like the fluval, because they have the baskets and you can just pull them out and you're done. They do have these in various sizes. They do have them where they have the heaters involved in them, so you can get a lot of mileage out of this. So my favorite filter that we have here are going to be the fluval canister filters, mainly because I'm lazy. With that, they have nifty little pull tabs, just because they have the nice little video or pictures here. They got little pull tabs that you can pull out, and it all comes in baskets and everything, so that makes it nice and easy. The other thing with these is they come in a variety of sizes, much like the Oase, to where you can do a 10 gallon or you can do a 500 gallon if you got enough FXs on them. You can hot rod these a little bit more as far as customizing what you want to put in them. With this too, maintenance is an easy thing to do, because it has the two tabs up top to where you can shut flow off, you can remove the valve assembly, makes it easy. The only thing I don't like about this is if you want to run something like lily pipes or a spray bar, you do have to do a little bit of work on it, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. With that, your canister filters also enable you to have a lot more flow in your tank, so that helps with stuff not settling on the leaves and kind of burning them and killing those. With that, if you've been in the store, you see that I run FXs on my tanks. With that as well, sometimes that's not enough flow, mainly because I'm moving a lot of plants and I have a bunch of them in there. I get some dead spots. With that, I run the AI Neros to help prevent that. Excellent model here, completely controllable by your phone to where it can do randomized, you can set it, you can pretty much do whatever you want with these. You do have your C-Chays. These things are bulletproof. They are regarded as some of the best pumps and wave makers in the industry. Can't argue with that. The only thing is I do not like how they are stagnant. You really can't control them or do anything as far as controlling the flow. They are changing that, and they do have the SDC ones that are coming out, and I guess they've been out for a while now, to where you can control them, and they will send monitors to your phone and everything like that. So that's kind of cool and something that I may look into the future. However, the other thing you're going to want to look at is, as far as supplemental flow, is a surface skimmer. Excellent product. What this does is it pulls water from the surface, and that skim oil spill looking stuff that you see, this breaks it, make sure that you never see that. Also, if you have any leaves that are dying off because of, well, they're just dying, fish are eating them, they run into them and kind of pull them off, you're trimming, it's nice because this will suck everything to there, sucks it inside, you can remove them, it's got a sponge inside, so that way it collects it, it doesn't just chop it up and keep circulating it throughout your tank. So now that we've gone over pretty much the most important parts as far as your substrate, your filtration, your flow, and your lighting, let's go take a look at some kind of harder to grow plants and see what we have. So starting off, we're gonna go with the Anubias nanopinto. It is an easy plant, but it is a little harder to get that white variegation that we like, which makes this plant so special. The higher light, it'll help a whole lot. And with Anubias, when you go to plant it, you're gonna plant it lower because it likes darker areas. It will use its roots to attach to the rock and wood and whatever you're putting it against first, and then it'll eventually send those roots into the substrate, which, as we'll talk about, as we talked about, certain substrates benefit a lot more than others, depending on what you're trying to do. Okay, so starting off, that would really benefit from a whole lot more red is going to be your Watala triple red. And when you look at that, obviously you can kind of see the triple red because it fades from more of an orange to a very dark, deep red. And that's primarily because the higher light you have, the more it's going to transform in color. With that, you can do things that would kind of lean out your nitrates, because that's what helps chlorophyll, which would produce all your green pigments and stuff. So you can lean those out and it'll help your reds become more red. So another one that we have just gotten in and they're just starting to transform and get their color, which is what we're hoping for, the Rotala blood red. With these, it'll look like your typical rotundifolia, but on these, the stems will get a very deep and vibrant red also. So thank you for watching part 2. Stay tuned in part 3 to where we're going to do a deep dive into your CO2 systems, different ways of injecting, fertilizers, trace elements, things like that, as far as dosing pumps and other buffers and things like that to help keep water chemistry where we want it.